Good morning, everybody. Welcome. This is Josie Nicotra, branch manager of Amherst in Orchard Park. And with me today, I have Debbie Heggie from Princess Cruise Line, and we're going to have an hour filled of wonderful information. So I just want to remind you all that you are on mute and to please use the question and chat box that we'll be referring to throughout the presentation and answering any of your questions. I do see that some of you already have your hand up, but again, a reminder that you'll have to put your questions in the chat box. Okay, so take it away, Debbie. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, and thanks for having me because, you know, there's nothing I like to talk more about than my favorite destination, which is Alaska. I've been with Princess, oh gosh, it'll be 25 years coming up in 2 months, so this April. And I remember first looking at this brochure when I came in 1997 and said, my gosh, Alaska is so confusing. So I understand how some of you may feel just because there are so many choices, but I want to reassure you that the travel advisors at AAA, Western and Central New York, have been to Alaska, that they've been to Alaska on Princess, even more importantly. They've seen our lodges, and they can honestly give you the best service and the best discussion to make sure that you pick the right vacation for you. We are currently booking years 2022 and 2023. So I don't know which year you're looking for, but they are both open and available. In fact, we opened 2023 season much earlier just based on the pent-up demand. Because remember that we had to close our lodges in 2020 and 2021. They were open on a very limited basis. So Princess is #1 in Alaska. We have been for 14 straight years, and we will put a land and sea vacation together for you. And what I mean by that is that we offer 7-day cruises to the interior, and we also own our own rail cars, we own our own motor coaches, and we own our own custom-built Alaskan lodges in Alaska. So one of the choices, one of the most important questions that your travel advisor is going to ask you is, do you want to do land and sea, and how long can you be gone? Those are the two that are going to really help them select the best options for you. We also offer, if your time is limited, we also offer round trip Seattle cruises, which are 7 nights. And we also offer 10 nights round trip San Francisco cruises. But if you told your travel advisor that you wanted to do land and sea, those choices you're going to eliminate right at the top, right? That they're going to be gone to you, because you cannot do land and sea and with round trip Seattle or San Francisco. You need to do what we call the Voyage of the Glacier cruises, and those are the one-way itineraries. That would mean in the left-hand corner, you would fly in or out of Vancouver, and in or out, that bottom right-hand picture is the port of Whittier, Alaska, which we would use the Anchorage Airport, which is approximately 35 minutes away from Whittier. So those would be your choices right there. Land and sea would be Vancouver and into or out of Whittier, Alaska. So what I'm talking about when I say land and sea, or sometimes you'll hear me call them cruise tours. And what I mean by that, it means sail for 7 days on the Voyage of the Glacier cruises, the one-way itineraries. You'd travel inland on our exclusive Princess Rail, and you would stay at the Princess Lodges that are located right next to the national parks. So those are the 3 components of the land and sea vacations. If you're going to do cruise first, which would mean flying from Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo over to Vancouver, that would be the cruise first would be considered northbound. So you'd start with your 7-night cruise, and then on that day 7, you would disembark the ship, you'd board our scenic rail right to the lodges, and then you'd spend 3 up to 8 nights at the Princess Wilderness Lodges. It can be 3 nights, 4 nights, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you were going to be southbound, that would mean you would fly from your airport to our lodges. You would fly either into Fairbanks or you would fly into Anchorage. And then you would start with 3 or more nights on the land at the Princess Lodges. And again, those go up to 8 nights. Then you would travel by rail down to the ship, which you would start your 7-day journey, and you would go back and end in Vancouver. But that's the difference. They could be the same tour. You can start with the ship first, or you can start with the land first. And here we are. This is going to help a little bit, put it all together, at least give you a start to put it together. So down here, if you can follow my cursor right here, if you look, on this map, we don't have Seattle or San Francisco. But if you were to start your journey from either one of those 2 ports, you'd come up, you'd sail through the Inside Passage, you'd stop at Ketchikan, then continue on and stop in Juneau, and then continue on to the port, to the city of Skagway. Some of these itineraries go into Glacier Bay, some go into Hubbard Glacier. It just depends on the sailing date. And that's as far north as you would be able to get, because you have to return back down with a stop in Victoria, BC, back to get to Seattle or San Francisco. So you can see why, if you want to do the land, you would automatically be eliminating those because they don't connect to the land, to the interior. So on the 7-night voyage of the Glacier Cruise, you'd start here in Vancouver, do the same route through the Inside Passage, stopping in Ketchikan, then on to Juneau, then on to Skagway. All of these one-way itineraries will take you into Glacier Bay National Park. And then on these itineraries, we also have a second glacier viewing day. And that second glacier viewing day would either be in Hubbard Glacier or it would be College Fjord. So you've got those 2 magnificent glacier viewing days on that 7-day itinerary. And the ship will dock here in Whittier, Alaska. Now, there are other cruise lines up in Alaska, and they dock way down here in Seward, Alaska. Seward, to get to Anchorage, it's 110 miles to get to Anchorage because that's where they need to board the train. But that takes 4 hours on Alaskan roads. And Princess is right on the rail service. So our passengers simply cross the street, board the rail, and then we take you right up to the wilderness that same day. You'll see that little zipper line that I'm following right here. That is the Alaskan Railroad. Well, let's take a look at some of our lodges on the rail. We've got 2 on the rail system. We've got the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge right here at the gates of Denali National Park. And then at the south side, we've got the Mount Mckinley Princess Wilderness Lodge. Those are the 2 that are on the rail. We also have the Copper River Princess Wilderness Lodge, and that's right at the gates of Wrangell St. Elias National Park. And down on the Kenai Peninsula, we've got the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge. And here we are cruising through the Inside Passage. If you've never cruised before, and in a typical year, over 50% of our passengers on board our ships will be new to cruising. They will have never cruised, but after doing the research for this itinerary, they have decided that this is the easiest and the best way to see Alaska. But this is how close our ships are when we're cruising through that Inside Passage. The ports of call, we've got typically three ports of call on these itineraries. We've got Juneau, which is Alaska's capital, and we've got Skagway, which is filled with all the gold rush era charm. And we've got Ketchikan, the salmon capital. And I'll show you these ports in just a minute. Here we are, the capital of Alaska. Imagine living in Juneau, Alaska, and you are landlocked here. You cannot drive or drive out of the state capital. It's a completely different way to live. You can only enter or leave Juneau by water or by air. And right outside of the city of Juneau is the Mendenhall Glacier. And there'll be many different opportunities for you to get out and do the shore excursions. The AAA agents have been on these excursions, so they can speak about them firsthand. But you can kayak by it or canoe by it, river raft. You can simply take a motor coach out to the visitor center. There's all kinds of different activities here in this port. And this is Skagway, Alaska. This was home to the whole gold rush era. In 1897, this port was home to 20,000 people. And today, its year-round population is a little bit less than 900 people. But this is where the miners went to purchase their supplies to go up that Shilluk Trail to seek their fortune. And just outside of the city of Skagway, here is the magnificent scenery that you'll experience. And this is Ketchikan, and this is just 5 blocks from where Princess docks our ships. And it's important to note that we do dock all of our ships in Alaska, because some cruise lines just drop anchor and then you come in on a smaller boat called sometimes a tender that you would come into the port. But Princess docks our ships. We've been in Alaska over 50 years, so we've got some of the best parking up there in the state. And this is called Creek Street. This is just a quick 5-minute walk from where we dock. And it used to be saloons and brothels, and today it's a charming little place to grab a cup of coffee or just to take a stroll. You can kayak here. Right across the street, there's a lumberjack show that's really very entertaining. And this is Glacier Bay National Park. It's a 3.3 million acre national park and a UNESCO listed treasure. It'll both astound and intrigue you. The magnificent Marjorie Glacier will impress you. Beyond the ice, you'll see towering snow-capped mountains, deep fjords, and hopefully catch a glimpse of the humpback whales, sea otters, and porpoises. And this is how close our ship gets to that glacier in Glacier Bay. The state of Alaska only allows 2 ships per day into Glacier Bay National Park, and Princess has the permits to get in. And right at the entrance of the park, we will slow down ever so slightly, and we will board 2 park rangers, and the park rangers will be with us up on the Lido deck or by the pool deck area with microphones, and they'll be able to tell you what you're experiencing as you see it. And this is Hubbard Glacier. Remember that I said you'd have 2 glacier viewing days. This is North America's largest tidewater glacier. It measures an astonishing 76 miles long, and it's 1,200 feet deep. This area is teeming with wildlife, so you'll want to keep your camera handy, ready to go. And this is College Fjord, and this offers the world's largest collection of tidewater glaciers, including the famed Hubbard Glacier. Discovered in 1899 during the Harriman expedition, professors on the excursion named the glaciers after elite colleges such as Harvard, Vassar, and Yale. Princess brings more of Alaska on board, and you're going to ask, well, how do we do that? We have a great program. If you are interested in fishing and all season long, from May to September, you will be able to fish if you'd like. It'd be halibut and salmon. And you're sure to catch something on these shore excursions. And when you do, we'll be bringing your catch back to the ship, and we'll be preparing it for you that same evening. And you'll see platters of fish coming out of the galley, freshly prepared, and going to the tables. And everybody wants to talk about their fishing trip. This woman right here is called Libby Riddles. That's her name. Libby is the first woman that won the Alaskan Iditarod. And Libby comes on board every one of our ships in Juneau in the late afternoon. And she does a complete presentation on the Alaskan Iditarod. We have the park rangers, as I just mentioned, in Glacier Bay. There'll be 2 of them for that day on board with us. And we also have onboard naturalists. They reside on board throughout the season, and they'll be doing talks, and they'll be walking around answering questions, especially down on the promenade deck. That's where this photo was taken. And puppies. Who doesn't love a puppy? We've got our program called Puppies in the Piazza, or the Piazza is our main atrium. Think of it like the hotel atrium. And the puppies come on board in Skagway, and you can learn how they're trained for the Iditarod, what kind of food they have, just all kinds of things about the puppies and the Iditarod. But it's a great program, and everyone loves to see the pups come on board. Here we are in Whittier. And remember, I said the Princess passengers will cross the street to the rail. I'm taking my cursor and I'm just outlining the top of our Ultra Dome rail cars. So you can see now how close, truly how close our passengers will walk. If they were doing the ship first, they'd walk across the street. They'd be assigned to a particular rail car. You can see they're labeled here with A, B, and C and onward. And everyone in that car, if we were headed to, let's say, Denali, the Denali Princess Lodge, we may be assigned to the first car. So all 98 guests here are traveling to Denali. B may be going to Mckinley, and they'd be dropped off first on the rail system. But that's how close they are. When you're traveling on the train and you arrive at our lodges, we own the rail cars, we own the lodges. You check in, you'll be given a packet on board the train. So when you get to the lodge, you can go right to your cabin, and of course your luggage will be trucked separately and be delivered there. The same thing's true in reverse. If we were doing the land first, we would come in here and then we would cross the street to board the train or board the ship. So either way, here's a close look at the Ultra Dome cars. And you can see that there's outdoor platforms for outside viewing. And there we are leaving Whittier. It's a very exciting time when you're on the train, because if we were traveling on the train from the ship to Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge, it's between an 8 to a 9 hour journey that day to get there. Here's the upstairs of the train where everyone is assigned to a seat. You'll notice we're not like an airline. There's no overhead compartments. So everything that you take with you that day will need to fit underneath your seat. And your luggage, as I said, is trucked separately right to your lodge. Downstairs, we've got a full galley, that's a dining car, and everything is freshly prepared for you, and you can order right off the menu. And let's take a look at the lodges. Here's the largest one of our lodges, the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge, just a little bit over 600 rooms. You're going to see a lot of similarities with our lodges. Every one of them is situated by a riverbank. Every one of them have outdoor dining, beautiful fireplaces inside, and fire pits outside for you to just sit and relax. There's going to be multiple places for you to dine. The Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge will also include what we call the Natural History Tour into Denali National Park. Now remember, our lodge at Denali is located right at the entrance to the park. There is complimentary shuttle service going back and forth to the park, or it's simply a 15-minute walk right inside. But we do have this built in, and this is a tour, a guided tour through the park. We also have a longer tour, which is called the Tundra Tour, and that's built into some of our tours, but on many of them, if you're at Denali for 2 nights, you would be able to upgrade to the longer tour, which is the Tundra. The Tundra Tour is about 8 to 9 hours into the park guided tour. And of course, it comes with a boxed lunch. So let's take a look. Here's the entrance. Oops, where's that cursor? There we go. Here we are right at the visitor center. So this would take us, the natural history tour would take us right down here to mile marker 30 in the park right here. And the Tundra Tour, if you were able to book that, would take you all the way down to mile marker 62 in the park. What's the advantage? Well, the longer that you are in the park, the more wildlife you may be able to see. And the Park Service does limit how many people can get back to do the Tundra Tour. It is limited. If you think this is something that you would want to book, please make sure that you tell your AAA travel advisor in advance so they can reserve it now, because when you get there, it won't be available. At the south side of the park, we have the Mount McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge. And again, this truly is the closest that you can get to the mountain. This is only 41 miles away from the base of the mountain. But many similarities, the beautiful fireplaces, the fire pits, multiple places to dine. And here we are on the Kenai Peninsula, and this is the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge. Very small lodges. This one only has 86 rooms, and of course located right on the riverbank. It's a little bit different from the other lodges as it has the wood burning stove, and it's got the screened-in porch. And this is the view from the back deck of the Kenai Princess Lodge. Spectacular scenery. Now let's switch over to the Copper River Princess Wilderness Lodge. Again, 85 rooms here too. This is right at the base of Wrangell St. Elias National Park. And that became a national park in 1983. And it's home to 9 out of the 16 highest peaks in the United States. And here's the view from the Great Room at the Copper River. The Park Ranger Service has also put a visitor service here, a visitor center here at the Copper River. And this is a great day trip would be to explore the Kennecott mines that are very, very close by. And there's the view from the back of the deck at the Copper River. People often ask myself and the travel advisors, when's the best time to go? Well, you know, it's a very short season. It's May to September. And we've got the average temperatures up there in the corner. Denali, Princess, 34 to 57 in May. I've been up there in May and it's been in the 70s. So those are just guidelines. Things seem to be changing. It definitely, those are not average temperatures. But if you wanted little to no rain, that would be May or June. If you wanted to see the beautiful foliage, the fall colors, that would be late August into September, and the oranges and the yellows are reflected in the water as you're cruising through the Inside Passage, just making it beautiful scenery. If you want to see whales, well, you're going to be in luck because that's May to September, with the peak whale season being in July. If you wanted more daylight, you'd be June and July, when we've got almost 22 hours of daylight during June and July. And if you were interested in seeing the northern lights, well, that would be September, and because you'd have less daylight hours. And if that was something that you were interested in, I would definitely go do the cruise first and then the land, because you'd be losing daylight each day as you kept going north on the land. If it was wildlife, that's what you're interested in, well, that's going to be all season long, but the peak season is going to be May and June. That's the easiest time to spot them. We haven't had the 22 hours yet of daylight, so that it's easier to spot them because the greenery, the foliage is not that deep and that thick and that lush as it will be with 22 hours of daylight. Plus, some of the animals have been hibernating. They're waking up May and June. They're very hungry, very active. If you were interested in fishing, well, that's all season too, with the peak time being June and July. If you were looking for off-peak prices, of course, that would be at the beginning of our season and at the end of our season. So it would be May and September. And if you're traveling with families, well, you're kind of locked into summer vacation schedules, June, July, and August based on your school system. AAA, because of the high volume across the country and Canada that they provide to Princess, the high volume of passengers that they send to us, we've given them their own cruise and land vacations. And this is a copy of their Tour 14. If you do have a copy of our brochures, you'll see the tours are all labeled A, B, C, D, and onward. But AAA has numeric tours. They've got 2 of them to offer to you. We've got AAA Tour 14, and 14 will go north, or 14 will go south. So we have it both ways to offer. It's on multiple dates from May until September, and this would be for 2022, and also it is available, Tour 14 is also available for 2023. It's the 7-night cruise, and it will have 2 nights at the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge, and 1 night at the south side, 1 night at the Mckinley Princess Wilderness Lodge, and 1 night in Anchorage. It also has the Natural History Tour and the Direct to the Rail service. But the beautiful part about the AAA tours is that on the land, the majority of your meals are included, where they're not included if you purchase a 4-night land package, typically. So 4 nights AAA with AAA tours 14 and 15. And this is 15. This would give you 1 extra day. So this would be 5 nights on the land package. And this would be 2 nights at McKinley, 2 nights at Denali, 1 night at the Fairbanks Princess Riverside Lodge, the Natural History Tour, Direct to the Rail service, and it also includes the Stern-Wheeler Riverboat Cruise in Fairbanks down the Chena River. And that has the majority of the meals built into the AAA tour. We've got a great promotion. The last time we offered this, it was 2020, right before everything closed down. But this is called the Best Sale Ever, and it's available now through March 2nd of 2022. It includes your drinks. Well, what do I mean by drinks? I mean, it's our all-inclusive beverage package, and that includes specialty coffees and teas, bottled water, fountain soda, and alcoholic beverages for you, up to 15 per day. It also includes your unlimited Wi-Fi on board. It includes specialty dining, and we've got 2 different specialty dining restaurants to choose from, and that would you would be able to go to one or the other on board the ship. We also are including our crew appreciation, which we used to call crew tips or their gratuities. That is also included in this package, and the stateroom location upgrade. And what does that mean? That means the AAA advisor is going to book you. Let's say you were interested in a balcony cabin, since this is Alaska and you've got 20 to 22 hours of daylight viewing. If you were in a balcony cabin, they would actually book you into the highest balcony cabin available, and it would be priced at the lowest balcony cabin available, so offering a true cost savings. And actually, this is for all of our destinations and all staterooms, sailings for 3 days or longer, now through March 2nd. We also have AAA. Again, they've got their own AAA vacation amenities. And every time you book a Princess Cruise with AAA, you would be able to have up to $100 onboard spending money per stateroom, and that is going to vary by the voyage length. So on a 7-night Alaskan cruise, that amount would be $50 onboard spending money. We're also going to have for you another night to go to the specialty dining restaurant, and that would be on the port days. You've got the AAA 24/7 member care, and then you've got AAA's best price guarantee. On top of that, we've also got another program for AAA. And you don't have to pick or choose which program. If you book before the dates, then the expiration dates, then you're going to have all of these benefits. And AAA for 2022 Alaska land and sea vacations is offering cruise tour cash, and that would be cash, the vouchers that would be delivered to you on the land portion, so that you would be able to spend it in the gift shop, spend it wherever you would like to. But you would be able, on a balcony cabin, you'd have $100 per cabin cash on the land. If you were to do an outside or an interior cabin, you'd have $50 per cabin. And the booking window for this is just opened, and it's good through February 18th of 2022. And it's available on tours 14 north and south and 15 north and south. And again, these are for 2022 sailings. So that is my last slide. And Josie, I'm going to see if there are any questions for me or anything I need to go back over.
We do have a few questions. One question that I see that has popped up is the escort that's on your tours. You know, what do they provide for the travelers?
Well, the escorts are provided on what we call our Connoisseur Tours. And they are on the land portion only. And they provide one common person to travel along with you on the land. Sometimes things arise when you need a contact other than going to our front lodge, to going to the desk or the people that are the employees there. So that person offers that continuity of staying with you on the land portion as you travel between lodge to lodge. Otherwise, what happens is, if you're not on one of those what we call the Connoisseur Tours, you're passed from one princess person to the next princess person. So if you were traveling, your motor coach driver would act as your liaison until you got to the Mckinley Princess Lodge, or whichever pattern that you're going, you're simply passed from one princess contact to the next.
Okay, another question that has come in is, you mentioned that you drop off land people from rail at Mckinley. They want some clarification on the bus from Whittier to Mckinley.
Well, from Whittier to Mckinley, you would take the Princess Rail service, and you would be dropped off. The rail stop is called Talkeetna. Talkeetna is the rail stop. And then you get off in Talkeetna, and you would travel to the Mckinley Princess Wilderness Lodge, and it's over an hour from Talkeetna to the Mckinley Lodge, just because of where that lodge is located, being so close to the base of the mountain. That's the only way to get from point A to point B that way.
Okay.
But when you do your confirmations, when you actually sit down and do a sit down or via the phone or whichever way that you're looking at this, the travel advisor would be able to give you the exact itinerary for that day. They would be able to tell you the distance, the times the train was leaving, the time the motor coach was leaving. Everything would be on that confirmation.
Is that distance about 200 miles, or is it closer to about 120 miles?
From Talkeetna to Mckinley?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know the mileage. That's something I'm going to have to check and get back to you because I don't know offhand the mileage between the two. But remember, you're traveling on Alaskan roads, so those roads are not operable all year. So sometimes, it just takes you a little bit longer.
Okay, because there was just a question on, some of the mileage and a little bit of a discrepancy. So we'll have to look into that a little bit more.
Sure.
Any other questions that are coming through? There's just, we have one more. What are the COVID testing requirements? Are there testing sites near the dock in Vancouver?
Testing requirements right now, we've only gone as far as April. So it does not affect right now, but I expect it to affect the summer 2022 season. We have on the princess.com website, we've got the antigen medically supervised kits that are required, and you can purchase 2 kits for, I think it's $70, and they come shipped, well, gosh, they're to you within a week. And that would have to be done currently. I'm giving you today's statistics. It would have to be done 2 days before you're boarding. So if you're boarding on July 5th, you would take the test anytime on July 3rd. And it's not based on a time, it's simply based on a date. Or also on our website, we've got an agreement with Quest Diagnostics. And if you go to our Princess website, you click on the link Quest near me or Quest Diagnostics in a port of call. So we were also helping you with finding the locations.
Now, Debbie, I do know that from your current health protocols that are listed on your site, and maybe this could answer a little bit more of Linda's question, guests must have received their final dose of an authorized COVID-19 vaccine at least 14 days before the beginning of the cruise and provide acceptable proof at the terminal check-in. They're recommending boosters right now for those that are eligible at least 7 days before. But again, like Debbie said, that's always changing, and we recommend that you are aware that that can change.
Yes, it can. It's constantly being reviewed.
Right. Okay, another question that has come in, Debbie, is we're planning on 2023. Are all the extra packages available for then? I believe that some of them are expiring as early as January 27th of this year. For the free Alaska meal packages, I believe that's January 27th. And yes, the best ever sale, I believe the offer expires March 2nd of 2022. Is that correct?
That is correct. You have the dates right, Josie. That's it. The Alaska Cruise land cash promotion is available for only 2022 sailings, but a best sale ever would be applicable to 2022 and 2023. And that date was March 2nd. The free meal package, the Alaska free meal package, that's expiring January 27th, and that's only for 2022 as well. And in all the years that I've been here, we've never had that promotion before. Typically our promotions repeat around the same time every year. If you book outside before the window of a promotion, the AAA advisors are very good at calling in and adding up an applicable promotion for you. So the most important part is to get, if you're looking for 2023, the most important part is to talk to your advisor, get the tour that you want, get the dates that you want, the cabin selection that you want, because if you're traveling with let's say two or three couples, you may want to have balconies that all connect. So on the Princess ships, they will connect. The cabin steward will unlock the frosted glass panels and you would be able to have them all together. So if a promotion comes out that is applicable, the AAA advisors look at it, they'll analyze it, see if it's better for you, and they add the promotion. But right now, Yeah, right now the promotions, the majority of the promotions is for 22, with the exception of best sale ever. And of course, the always available AAA vacations that combine
So
with them.
the webcast attendee offer, the $100 savings per booking for any new 2022 and 23 Princess Alaska Cruise or Alaska Cruise Tour is for the attendees of this webcast, correct?
I believe that is correct, yes.
Mm-hmm. So we'll be, you know, as long as it's new bookings from today until February 8th, that $100 savings will be applicable. Another question that comes in from Eileen is, you know, and I believe you answered this, are you better to wait for 2023? I would recommend not waiting. So definitely get the desired trip on the books, and we could always monitor the pricing for you.
That's true. And it's not, remember, I was giving you the capacity of the motor, the rail cars are only 98. The largest lodge we have is 600 rooms. The smallest is 85 rooms. So these tours do sell out. We may have availability on the ship, but the land is the key part to lock in, the land and sea together. So yes, I would say the best time to book is now for 2023 and not hold off, not right. At all.
Another question that just came in too is they're booked and they're going to be on the train from Whittier to Talkeetna. Now, can I go on rail from Denali to Fairbanks? They don't remember seeing this.
Denali to Fairbanks?
Fairbanks, yes.
Which tour? Oh, you don't know which tour they're on.
I believe it's the Connoisseur one. If I for this summer.
For this guest, well, there's only one segment of the rail on every one of our land and sea vacations. And it sounds like, without knowing which tour they're booked on, it sounds like they wanted to add a segment of rail, but it doesn't always work because the tours are all built and the capacity is all booked that way. So you can't add rail at all. What you can add to some of the tours is at the beginning or the end, if you wanted to stay an extra day or an extra night in the beginning or the end, that we can do, but we can't change the tour pattern.
Yeah, she's on the SA6 Connoisseur sailing.
Okay, SA6. Okay, I've got SA in front of me, and she's talking about, I see, going from Denali to Mckinley. It doesn't make it. Did you say Denali to Mckinley, Josie?
Yes, Denali to Fairbanks.
Oh, Denali to Fairbanks. Okay, the other way. Okay. It's built in. I'm looking at that day. Yeah, it has to be by motor coach. We can't add a segment of the rail.
Okay.
No.
Okay, thank you.
I hate saying no, but on that question, I've got to say no. We can say yes to a lot of things, but I can't tour pattern.
Yeah, and keep in mind, you know, for everybody that's on this webcast, if you have any additional questions, please reach out to your AAA representative, and they could dig a little further and help assist you. And if you don't have one, you know, feel free to walk in. We can do virtual appointments. We can do in-person appointments. You know, we're here. Some offices are open 6 days a week, you know, and we want to just help you plan that wonderful Princess Alaska trip. Any other questions before we conclude? Okay, well, I want to thank you for your time today. Again, Debbie, thank you again for the presentation. We do have a secondary one at 5:30. So if you have any friends or family that were unable to attend the 11:30, please ask them and invite them to join at 5:30.
Oh, Josie, I've got 6 o'clock on my calendar.
Okay, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, okay. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Stay warm.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.